Back in April of 2017, Kevin Feige said that Marvel has plans for Moon Knight. This mercenary-turned-hero hears voices and dispatches foes with all of the blood and violence of a Deadpool or Punisher. And he's a bit of a cult favorite. However, I wouldn't pre-order those tickets just yet. Feige was super vague with the details, so much so that he may not even be talking about a movie in this decade, and he may not be talking about a movie at all.
Thank you. You can find more of these prophecies at patreon.com/fancygeeks. No, really, this video was made possible by our lovely patrons on Patreon. Support the channel at patreon.com/fancygeeks and get a video made on a comic or character of your choice. Back in April of 2017, Kevin Feige said that Marvel has plans for Moon Knight. In 2019, I began a video with that exact sentence. It ended like this. It will happen. But for now, I'm not holding my breath. Well, I'm glad none of us held our breath, because here in the year of our Lord 2022, the new Moon Knight series debuted on Disney Plus on March 30th at 3:01 a.m. So far, at the time of this writing, 4 of 6 episodes have been released, the same 4 episodes that reviewers got early access to. So let's talk about it. For those of you that didn't see it, here's a very quick recap. The original video is linked below if you want a more in-depth version of this story. Moon Knight was originally created by writer Doug Moench and artist Don Perlin, and made his first appearance in Werewolf by Night number 32 in August of 1975. The story is about a man named Mark Spector. Spector's family fled Europe before World War II. He was born in Chicago, Illinois, and did not get along with his religious father. His father had refused to stay and fight the, how do I say this without YouTube getting upset? The bad guys in Wolfenstein, and so Spector saw his dad as a coward. Spector became a heavyweight boxer, then a U.S. Marine, and eventually a CIA agent. At this point in his career, he was working alongside his brother Randall, who was secretly smuggling weapons. When Mark's girlfriend found out, Randall relieved her of her responsibility to keep breathing. In turn, Mark tracked down his brother, and during the confession, a grenade went off and Mark's brother was presumed dead, but you know how comics are. He's not named Uncle Ben, so I have a feeling that we just might see him again. Sorry, Peter. So Mark struck out on his own and began taking freelance work as a soldier for hire, which turned out to be a very lucrative career choice. Working in Africa, he met Jean-Paul Duchamp and nicknamed him Frenchie. They became lifelong friends and continued working together. Now, at this point, Spector is no hero, and eventually he takes a job working for Raoul Bushman. And to cut this short, it goes very bad. Bushman found an archaeologist named Dr. Peter Alarain who was excavating the tomb of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Bushman introduced the doctor to oblivion and plundered the tomb. Spector had seen enough and helped the doctor's daughter, not that one, escape, earning him a beatdown from Bushman. Barely conscious, he stumbled into the ancient tomb, seeking shelter from the cold of the desert night, where Marlene and her father's men brought Mark to rest near the statue of the moon god Khonshu. There his heart stopped, and he saw a vision of the moon god offering him a second chance. He wrapped himself in the shroud that covered the statue, and from that moment on, he became Moon Knight, earthly avatar of the moon god Khonshu. After defeating Bushman, Spector returned to the States and established a handful of identities he used to gather intelligence and fight crime. In newer incarnations, these identities are due to mental illness, dissociative identity disorder to be specific. However, it's never clear if Spector's disorder caused him to believe that the moon god Khonshu saved him, or if the moon god is real and it's his powers that cause Spector to manifest the symptoms of dissociative identity disorder. So, I'm going to move on to the show. Again, if you want more details on the comics, then you can check out my old video. And for reading recommendations, my friend Drake at ComicDrake has a great new-ish video on Moon Knight as well. Links are in the doobly-doo below. Oscar Isaac stars in Marvel's newest MCU show from head writer-executive producer Jeremy Slater and executive producer Grant Curtis, which streams on Disney Plus as an exclusive. Now, this isn't an ad for Disney, although do call me. But the service is $7.99 a month and contains the whole of the MCU movies and shows, including the Netflix stuff, which is a whole topic unto itself. Mohammed Diab and duo Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead directed these 6 episodes, and I'll credit the many other producers on screen right now. The show centers around Stephen Grant, played by Isaac. He's a regular guy, very smart, employed at a museum gift shop during the day, the National Art Gallery in London. At night, however, he has trouble sleeping to the point that he can no longer differentiate his dreams from reality. He's experiencing frequent blackouts and memories from a whole other life. Eventually, he figures out that he's suffering from dissociative identity disorder, and he shares a body with a mercenary named Mark Spector. Fans of Star Wars will recognize Isaac from the newest trilogy, but he's also been in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, last year's new Dune adaptation, X-Men Apocalypse, and just a ton of other movies, games, and TV shows. Some may also recognize the man who plays bad guy Arthur Harrow as Ethan Hawke from The Purge, Dead Poets Society, 2012's Total Recall reboot, and many others. In the comics, Dr. Arthur Harrow was a scientist who was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine until Dr. Victoria Grell found out that much of his research was performed on prisoners at Auschwitz. Yeah, so the show makes some big changes to the character. In this adaptation, he's a sort of cult leader and a former partner of Khonshu with powers of his own from the Egyptian god Ammit. He has a standard twisted sense of morality with the goal to rid the world of sin, and performs a ritual where he judges people using an animated tattoo of the skulls of justice on his forearm. Then we have Layla El Faoul, played by Palestinian-Egyptian actress May Callumway, a character who knows Mark Spector and doesn't understand why Stephen keeps playing dumb around her. You can see this in the trailer when she tells Stephen to summon the suit, and he has no idea what she's asking him to do. Callumway doesn't have as many previous credits as the other principal actors, but turns in a great performance nonetheless. She recently starred in the Hulu series Raimi, and she's also known for The Long Road Home and The Brave in 2017, none of which I've actually seen, to be honest. She still does a fantastic job, though. Khonshu is played by the iconic F. Murray Abraham, whose previous roles include Amadeus, The Orville, Robin Hood, and somewhat more recently, The Grand Budapest Hotel, among so many others. He certainly got the longest list of acting credits on IMDb out of the bunch. And that leads us to the unfortunate passing of Will Gaspard Ewell, who plays Anton Mogart. He died at the age of 37 in a tragic skiing accident just one day after the trailer for the show was released. He was an award-winning French actor with well over 50 acting credits to his name, including Hannibal Rising in 2007 and It's Only the End of the World in 2016. In the comics, Anton Mogart is the mysterious thief Midnight Man who steals jewels and famous works of art all over the world. He's stopped by Moon Knight in an attempt to steal a rare Monet oil painting, and to keep it short, he's disfigured in the process and vows vengeance. It seems early reviews of the show are mostly positive. It currently sits at a solid 69 on Metacritic, nice, with a 6.9 from users, double nice. However, both scores are subject to change as new reviews come in and new episodes go live. This early score, along with the subject matter and Moon Knight's status as a cult favorite, all indicate that the show may not be for everyone. But from these first 4 episodes, I'm cautiously optimistic that Moon Knight fans will enjoy this take on their favorite lesser-known antihero. After all, they've been waiting a very long time, and taking lesser-known comic characters and making them into a household name is basically Marvel's shtick at this point, so we'll see. Of 6 episodes, critics received the first 4. While Forbes' Scott Mendelson didn't care for the show, calling it Marvel's first bad Disney Plus show, Terry Terrones of Paste called the show worthy of obsession, giving it a 9.5 out of 10. These remarkably contrasting views seem to be echoed in nearly all of the reviews, ping-ponging between adoration and condemnation. So far, the best hot take I've read came from Matt Webb-Minovich at TV Line. He said, "The joy in watching Moon Knight actually comes from what a few have opined are its liabilities. It has no connection to existing MCU fare and thus is not beholden to scattering Easter eggs or checking off boxes. I mean, there are Easter eggs, but the show can just add them for fun. As someone who is behind on all of the MCU content out there, this is the perfect place for me to jump back in. A mostly self-contained story in a familiar setting, ready to ease me back into the wider Marvel universe, and I'm really looking forward to the last couple of episodes." So, after staying up to 3 a.m. just to watch the first episode, what did I think? Well, the show was very promising, but the first episode and its long ending credits were just not enough to make a decent judgment. That's why I waited for the same 4 episodes the reviewers got so that I can really see where they're coming from. The story seems to be set up in a way where you learn about Mark Spector and the gods along with Steven, a great way to introduce the audience to the subject matter, but the first episode seems to end out of nowhere and leaves a lot unexplained. It was well acted and well edited, but didn't feel like a whole episode. This wouldn't have been much of a problem if they just dropped the whole show at one time. In fact, I found that through all 4 episodes released at the time of this writing, none of them felt like a whole episode. In any case, this issue did not stop me from enjoying the show. The other issue with the show is best summed up by my friend Rod from RKCV, who you really should subscribe to. He said, whenever Moon Knight gets dumb, there's kind of a soft explanation why shortly after. I'll give them this. I don't ever know what's going on, and regardless if it ends up being kinda silly or really impactful, it's a fun ride. I can't say it any better. Either way, it's a fun ride. So I'll be watching the last 2 episodes, and I hope they make more. So just one more quick thank you to our wonderful patrons on Patreon. You can support the channel at patreon.com/fancygeeks and get a video made on a comic or character of your choice. If you can't afford Patreon, then you can still be a huge help by sharing this video on Twitter, Facebook, or Reddit, and you can come chat with me directly on Discord, link in the description below. Thank you for making it to the end of the video, and until next time guys, be kind to each other. I'm Jay Parks.